With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
Tonight, we're in the heart of Kansas. In fact, the heart of Kansas City, as we get set to see how the Precision Racing League handles the mile-and-a-half Kansas Speedway. First up, it's the Truck Series here on RaceSpot as we go trucking around the heartlands of Kansas. Justin Brent's alongside Derek Watson, Joshua Lee producing as we get set to go racing as part of a stock car filled event evening tonight. Derek, first things first, welcome once more. Second things second, Kansas should be an interesting one as drivers try and find one thing, the Old Brook Road that takes them to victory lane.
Yeah, the yellow brick road to victory lane should be exciting to see. Hopefully someone can click their heels 3 times and get there quickly. But let's take a look at the schedule. It's been fun. Darlington is next week, throwback week here for the Truck Series and PRL. North Wilkesboro and then Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are up to almost the last of the set of 3 races here in the PRL schedule.
And it's down to the home stretch for Patrick Calgill and company. Zach Panzarella, though, looking to keep things tight. Panzarella picked up a win a couple weeks ago. Calgill bounced back after a rough couple weeks by being able to break through with a win last time out. Mike Richter's in the conversation as well. He's within 13 points of that top spot. Brett Adams, Austin Hunter, the long shots at the rate it's going, lest things change tonight. As well, remember the team side, Whataback Racing Final Drive is at the top of those standings. Team TDI 40 forever, keeping things tight though. Whataback Racing Hunters, RBM Shake. Your top 4 in team standings. They're tied, in fact, RBM is, but the Soy Boys Racing's trucks. Those trucks have picked up some pace late. Fillmore looks to bump them as the night progresses. The rest of those in 200-plus points, Big Fast Racing and RBM Bake, who looks to try and find a little bit of shake to add to said bake and gain to their counterparts tonight. That being said, let's go and talk about who the presenting partners are tonight for the PRL. First things first, tonight's action brought to you in part by Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. RaceBox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts. For the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceBoxSimRacing.com and get a 5% discount. Use the Precision 5 coupon code. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. Also brought to you tonight by Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby and up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And by Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Drivers tonight getting themselves in the midst of qualifying, all ready for this evening's festivities. First things first, let's talk to you about those who are not allowed to drive on the track for qualifying. It's a short one tonight. That includes Marty Calvert and Will Jennings from last race, and outstanding penalties for Jordan Miller and Alex Wright. Outside of that, we have 28 entrants for tonight's festivities. Philip Beaver is at the top of the board, in fact, by a couple hundreds. A big improvement for Beaver, who's been in the heart of the field as of late.
Yeah, Philip Beaver, big move. Was also, I think, second or third in practice times the last I looked. So great run there for Philip Beaver. But we got some cars, or some trucks, on track still. Want to kind of get him run down. Here's the number 13 machine, part of that Mythic Metals sponsorship. Going to now try to come around the track out of 3 and 4 and track out a little bit and then get back down to the bottom onto the apron to find that time. Let's see where it puts him. No, yeah, Jake Maki 13th in the 13 machine, Justin.
Right where the truck number needs to be. And just about 20 seconds to go. That should just about wrap up qualifying, in fact, for tonight's festivities here from Kansas City, Kansas. Of note, one new starter tonight we have not seen much of, if at all, this season. Making the debut last week and looking to improve tonight. 34th in points, Robbie J. Wilson in his second start in this series in the top 10 in quali. Let's take a look at that qualifying order. In fact, the session is complete for quali. Tonight, Philip Beaver starts on the pole. He looks to become an eager Beaver to be able to put himself to victory lane. He starts alongside Stephen Kirby. Second spot, Kevin McGarvey. Brett Adams in third and fourth overall on the grid, second row. Mike Toomer Jr., Robbie Wilson, his top 6 starting spot for the one truck. Then it's Andrew Sharp, who will start on the next page. That driver alongside him, though, is your points leader, Patrick Calgill. Mike Richter and Garrett Austin, your top 10, with Zach Panzarella and Dylan Smith, the top 12. Jake Mackey starts off 13th, with his truck number. Nicholas Hunter, 14th. Edward Pelt starts heart of the field in 15th with Tanner Johnson alongside. Then it's Graham Wildman looking for a wild time with Kyle Dewey. Then in 19th spot, it's Tom Massey. Then in 20th, Brennan Chatley, way far back of the field. He's been top 10 starting much of the year. Mark Elliott and Austin Hunter, 21st, 22nd. The 72, Luke Davis, comes back out for Lunatic. He'll start alongside Stacy Hunter. Last to set its qualifying time tonight, Zachary Austin, 31 flat for the 45. No qualifying times allowed for Calvert, Alex Wright, and Will Jennings. Track conditions similar to that you'll see in official races this week on the iRacing platform. 74 air temp, 76 the trap temp. 40 minutes up on the clock, expecting track conditions to stay fairly stagnant in terms of the air and temperature conditions. Derek, your keys to win in turn. What does it take to win at Kansas?
Well, at least for the trucks tonight, JP, that what we've seen throughout practice all day long, you got to stay in the draft. This is pretty much a drafting track. You do some lifting, so it's not a Dega, it's not a Daytona, but being part of that pack is there and conserving tires in whatever way possible. It's going to be the two keys to victory here tonight for the trucks at Kansas.
Who do you think is going to get the job done tonight to get the victory here at Kansas?
This is such a wild, kind of a random thing because it is that draft. I mean, Robbie Wilson at one point was fastest in practice. That name sticks out to me. Zach Panzarella's on a drive to get his points lead back. So many possible names here. I don't know. I'm going to stick with Panzarella, but this is really wide open, I think.
Expect wide open racing on the throttle at least to start things off tonight. Just about set to go here on Race Spot. Glad to have you with us for the PRL Truck Series from Kansas Speedway. Green flag is out. We're underway from Kansas City. Right on point for Philip Beaver. He leads the first lap, 2 by 2 behind him. Offset 3 in the heart of the field. Outside of that, off to a solid start. Most drivers able to keep the side draft on.
Yeah, a lot of drivers able to keep moving here. And really, they've already kind of caught Philip Beaver sort of that Daytona style. He put a big gap out to the field, and now they're using that draft to catch back up to him. That's Kevin McGarvey on the outside, by the way, up in P2 with Stephen Kirby in P3. It's kind of cool to see some new names at the front of the field, JP. That's what a track like this can do for you.
It's been a little bit since seeing Bieber out in the race lead. He started things off in the calendar year by being strong on the calendar. Fell off a bit as of the past 2-3 months. But to the outside, McGarvey trying to hold back Brett Adams. This is a bottom-dominant track for the first 5 to 10 laps. And then the top's expected to heat up and quick.
And the top, also the benefit there, JP, is that it will also help you save a little bit of tires by not putting as much input into that wheel. But look at that massive line of drivers well below the apron here, or on the apron, I should say, down the front straight here. We're almost 3 wide at Kansas. This is crazy.
That's not a surprise to see that. It's just how many times people will give the space back up from the apron. For reference tonight, SOF Action Scene drivers, pinch drivers to the apron tonight. Here's a look at a new camera viewpoint. Patrick Calgill, the visor cam, coming out in full force. He talked about that new wheel as well. Look at how shiny it is.
Yeah, Bradley Holly, eat your heart out. This is Patrick Calgill's new camera, and it looks pretty awesome. Patrick trying to give us the visor cam look, and so we can see what he sees. Got a Tar Heels truck in front of him, and doing pretty well here. Patrick running up in the top 10 last I looked. Oh, that's a truck on the bottom. Sorry, I missed that.
That's Nicholas Hunter, who just prior to tonight had talked about the poor qualifying run. Things are not going great now, especially. Jake Macchio's involved. No caution. We stay green. But up front, Beaver staying committed to the bottom. Not going to be able to stay there for long because the top line is expected to turn on and fast within the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, in fact, you can all see that run starting right up there now. That's Mike Toomer Jr. up there in that beautiful, like, bright Seahawks green machine. Doing a great run up here. Now they're splitting everywhere. They got Adams down to the apron. Andrew Sharp's moved to a couple spots, and it is getting a little bit more chaotic as this run goes on.
For the race lead, Toomer Jr., here's the reason for the stack up. No caution. Maki does get contact. That was from initial boot from Tanner Johnson. And that is race destroyed for truck 19. Race lead, Toomer Jr. stays up now, a lane and a half up from Beaver. Still can't get the job done quite yet, even though Beaver keeps clipping the apron.
Yeah, it's going to happen soon for Toomer, I do believe, but we'll wait and see how long that takes. And unfortunately for Nick Hunter, you saw wrecked out there, JP, had a very bright moment a couple weeks ago, winning a Dega, and had not had the best of moments since then. That's just sort of the way the momentum can swing here in oval racing.
Also amongst those trying that middle to top groove, McGarvey's been committed the whole race. Toomer Jr. trying the diamond line to see if that changes things up. No. One thing to mention too, while a lot of people like to cut on that apron, you can only do it for so many times. On the short run, it's fine. You do it long run, you can spin out.
Yeah, it'll get very, very slick. There's a couple of dangers to it. The other danger is technically the drivers above you are not really required to let you back in. So if you're side-by-side racing, that apron runs out at some point, and it can create a lot of danger for the drivers there. Look at that. Andrew Sharp, by the way, in the back, that bright multicolored truck has moved to the top lane from the bottom. So as you predicted, drivers will want to start to use the top lane. Andrew's moved up a little early and is trying to make something happen here. And is almost at times being put 3 wide in the middle and is handling it pretty well.
Yeah, he's had a very up and down season so far for Soy Boys. He's been one of their top drivers, many will talk about, but has had a lot of bad breaks, whether it's into the pit lane, not getting the track position needed, having incidents of following his lap. He's also, since the last couple races, pick things up in terms of his speed performance, be one of the better drivers in this year's Toyota GR Cup in conjunction with the Real World Service. He's in full focus, you've seen in that camera, now as the first to be fully committed top line, it looks like, outside of McGarvey.
Well, I asked him about that hoodie pre-race that says "I am enough" and it's multicolored. Said it's just inspired by the Barbie movie and just gives him the confidence to come out here and race, and looks pretty cool. I was happy with it. So, by the way, he's also currently training for a marathon in real life, JP.
Really?
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Don't know why anyone wants to run anywhere. Unless there's like a zombie or a bear behind you, there's no reason to run anywhere.
What are you talking about? Running is a good way to keep yourself very fit, and also is very important in case anything happens, especially in the world that is the world.
No, see, if a zombie apocalypse happens, I don't have to be the fastest guy. I just have to be faster than you.
We're going to get into a big conversation next week about this. I have a strong feeling that's going to come up as a question next week. But right now, Beaver and Toomer Jr. are both committed to the bottom, and it's starting to go single file racing. Bit of a jet out there for Richter. That was near contact with Panzerello in the backdrop as everyone else looks calm.
I am surprised here how much Beaver and Toomer are almost putting a small gap here back to Brett Adams, Garrett Austin, and the rest. I would think that the draft would help them, but as these tires wear off, that draft will become a little less strong because the corners will become harder and harder to handle. Sharp back to the bottom of the track, by the way, so see drivers moving all around trying to find whatever they could. That was a small bit of contact there on the top of the track.
Garrett Austin getting a little bit darty. Caution indeed. Our first yellow of the evening does come out, and it's for a purple truck.
That's
it's this one.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Austin Hunter, the second of the Hunters around for the caution. This one was for 13th with Mark Elliott. And that should make it interesting on strategy from here on fuel.
Yeah, we'll wait and find out and see what happens when we get our RaceSpot replay machine loaded. I know Austin told me he needed long runs tonight to make that setup work for him, so this is a bit of a long run. I mean, not the longest, but we had a good opening start to this race here. But let's wait and see what happens between him and Austin Hunter. Here comes replay, Justin.
Similar to what happened in the last instance, this time, though, it does trigger the caution. A little bit of air, but it is on the racing surface, hence the yellow.
Yeah, it spun right in front of another truck. There's no way you don't put the yellow out. The good news for Austin Hunter, though, is really, I mean, maybe some back-end damage from the clipping of the truck, but compared to what it could be, nothing big. Well, here comes everyone down pit road, JP, and of course, gas, and I suspect 4 tires is on the menu.
Very likely here, since there's 3 tire sets available in the pits tonight, are running at the 1/4 complete mark. 61 estimated laps to go prior to this pit stop sequence. There's a look at Patrick Halgan with the right box. Your points leader by a slim margin over Panzarella, right on the marks as they look to get some good service in.
Wow. There's Patrick, of course, tells us every week, this isn't his kind of track. That's what the quote we get every week, right? And he comes out and performs really well. So he says he's not sure what to expect tonight. Wasn't expecting to be dominant, but is running pretty well so far. Look at that battle, and that's Mike Toomer Jr., I believe, winning the battle in a race off of pit road.
Lots of lost time for the 60 truck. Phil Beaver did not get a good launch from pit box number 1. And we're hearing at least a speeding penalty. Andrew Sharp just corrected himself. He did not speed. He just decided to hit the commitment cone instead. So Sharp to the back of the field.
Yeah, I'll wait and see so far. Let's see if he gets one. Right now, no black flags handed out by race officials. I was taking a look here. We'll see if they need to review that and do it.
He is currently serving a penalty because when you slow down like this, normally the pit road penalties do not show up in sim unless you're in the car itself or amongst those in the race field. For spectators, that as well as for broadcasters, that's a different story. So Sharp will go from towards the front to the very back of the Soy Boys machine. He'll have to do a marathon to be able to sprint his way in the end to the front.
That's good. Told me right now, in clean air, he told me pre-race, he says, and this is his quote, "I feel mega," was his quote about the race. "I feel mega in clean air, but the traffic is killing me." That's what he told me. So he'll have a hard time starting from the back. Hey, real quick, if we can go back and focus on Will Jennings, who is the 420 machine. I forgot to do this on Monday, so happy 21st birthday. Or in this case, happy late 21st birthday, Will Jennings, part of Big Fast Racing. Unfortunately, had a rough night Mondays and kind of got wrecked out before I got a chance to say happy birthday. So there you go. Happy 21st birthday. I'm sure you're having your first ever adult beverage on Monday.
Happy birthday indeed to the Big Fast Racing machine driver. Currently up 10 spots. Expecting one to go this time by. Now, where it gets interesting a bit on the strat, by the time we restart, the estimated laps about 4 or 5 laps outside the fuel window to make it to the checker flag. This is a track where if you can save hard, you can make it 51 laps. Does anyone try it? Depending on how the estimate goes here in the next minute or so.
Not on purpose, but the drivers who will try it are the ones who are forced to try it, back in the middle or the back of the pack. They're going to save more fuel naturally, because we've heard all week long, and you've seen in different races how hard it is to pass here despite, how this track races. So I'm not saying Andrew Sharp being sent to the back is a benefit to him by any means, but it could allow him to save some gas back in that part of the field. So I don't know, but I suspect saving 4 to 5 laps is a lot in the other side of that coin. We're going to ask you to save a lap or two. 4 laps of saving, that's a big ask of any driver.
Of note, Brennan Shatley out of the race. Tech issues. And disappeared in the middle of the pace laps here. So that's your second driver off track. Nicholas Hunter is still attempting to get the truck fixed. The downside is the sim has also given him a black flag with the meatball flag. The driver's on track, ready to go. Ford, Toyota, up on the front row. Toomer Jr. alongside the Adams Family Racing truck of Brent Adams, back underway, and a poor launch midfield. A lot of slipping and sliding for the 34. Garrett Austin having trouble.
I see trucks everywhere, and that's why whenever you see a truck who probably missed a gear or just got on the pedal late, creates a lot of calamity, a lot of chaos, a lot of spread out drivers, and already up through turns 1 and 2. Here they come down the back straight, and Mike Toomer, it's a pretty comfortable lead, at least for this moment.
He's been one of the dark horses throughout parts of the season for the championship conversation. We touched upon him at one point before the past 2 weeks. He was inside the top 5 in points. He only put up a 29-point run last time, had to use the drop in turn for that said round. looking to make up for it. Brett Adams looking to change up the minds, though. To the inside, clears himself. Brett Adams to the race lead, and Toomer to the inside.
Yeah, Toomer's having none of it. Toomer wants to get back to the front and lead. He doesn't want to be back in that calamity. He wants to know anything that can happen will likely happen behind him. So he's now back in the bottom of 3 and 4, trying to get this past me. Gets down on the apron, gets a little bit of air help from Philip Beaver and others. Let's see where they merge back in. Not clear yet, just about. And he could pull up maybe right there.
Right out of turn 2, caution flag is out. And this time it's Johnson, the 53, yet again, some contact. This time he does go around. That was it. Off the back of Mike Richter Jr. and Patrick Cowgill. We're under caution. This should get the field good on fuel.
Yeah, that will solve the fuel problem. What it won't solve is the tire problem, which could come up later. They'll hold it out, but they would love to get new tires towards the end of this race. Well, let's take a look and see what happened to Tanner Johnson once it gets loaded in here. I'm excited to see what caused that calamity. I saw cars going everywhere trying to avoid the wreck, so we know it must have been a little bit of a big one.
He was up in 7th. Big checkup with Mike Richter. He was in the wall, Richter was.
Yep, and then you said Cowgill got in the back of him, got turned around here. You see cars everywhere. This is, I think, one of the Austins down there. You saw Andrew Sharp down there. So lots of names, lots of drivers out there avoiding that wreck.
As said here, with us estimated to be about 49, 48 laps to go here, not expecting too many top-offs, but you can make it closely now, as long as you save under this caution. Remember, the run up to 50, 51 laps on the hard save with schedule distance 48 to 49. Edward Peltz is the only one electing to top off this caution flag.
I'm surprised a couple more didn't.
Yeah, me too. But
I mean, going through the
simplifies
order.
it.
Yeah, but going through the order, if I was an Alex Wright, a Jake Maki, and Andrew Sharp, even a Zachary Austin back, that's up through 20th. I mean, you're right on the tail of the lead lap as it is. You're going to restart there regardless. Why not give yourself that peace of mind of knowing that you have more fuel? Why not take that concern out of your head? One less thing to worry about as a driver, one less button to push to check on your fuel mileage. I would have done it. I'm surprised a couple more people in the back of the field didn't take the opportunity.
But in turn, by the time we get towards the restart, it'll be about halfway through the race. And so far, it's been up and down, but a lot of shuffling in terms of the restart so far in the initial start. Seen some calmness from Phil Beaver on green. Now on the field / the start box, it seems to have changed up the complexion of the least start procedures yet. Or start feel, rather.
Yeah, the start feel is different. It was that time as well. We saw a driver, I think, miss a gear, and that restart sort of just created that moment of uncertainty in the field. People kind of going everywhere to try to pass. But Mike Toomer's done an incredible job here of just leading the field. You know, took the lead back the moment he lost it, got back around Brett Adams, did the crossover, and you know, is making it happen here with that beautiful. I'm going to guess, and I don't know, I should look it up in a second, JP. Mike Toomer has to be from the Northwest. Those are very blatantly Seattle Seahawks colors, aren't they?
Well, very much so, yes. And the funny thing is, there was all that talk back in the time where it's like, what are they doing in terms of the jersey? It was one of the first custom design ones for
The bright colors.
With the Nike contract, yes. Yeah, Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the digital clock numbers back then. But the Seattle color scheme they came up with in terms of design has become a brand in of itself.
It certainly has. Well, according to iRacing, Mike Toomer Jr. is part of the Atlantic region, so that would put him
Just got a correction.
opposite end. Go ahead, sorry.
Just got a correction for one of his teammates. It's Jet Life All-Star Colors is the exact answer.
Well, it can be both, but I respect it as Jet Life All-Star Colors as Mike is part of the Atlantic region. Here's that last restart. Look at that. Up top, is that the 34 or the 54? That's the 34. And that PBR machine just kind of missed the start and got bumped around, and it's a small moment of uncertainty. So
with that, let's see if we avoid that this time. Just about halfway through the race, Derek, your quick thoughts as we get ready for a very pivotal restart, potentially for the strat.
Well, I think right now we're learning these restarts are important because passing under green has become quite the chore. So if you can get even a better reaction time on the start and get around someone, you have to take advantage of it because it seems like passing under green is hard. That's not a surprise, but still it's something they're dealing with here throughout the field. And by the way, it is getting darker and darker on this track, so the track is going to get a little bit more grippy as the day goes on. I think we're down 2 degrees in track temp. We started at 78, correct?
Yeah, the track temperature itself is at 76.
Yeah,
air
down 2
temperature
degrees.
is about the same.
So that'll put a little bit more grip in the track, allowing these drivers to push a little bit harder as we get closer and closer to the end of this race.
About 50% complete. Inside line, in control of Mike Toomer Jr. Outside, it's Brett Adams. Pace truck already off. Green flag waits. Back underway. And Brett Adams caught sleeping. The whole outside line forced to check up.
That'll mean that Philip Beaver will get the advantage there and will quickly and easily move up into P2. And we'll see what other ramifications come from that slip up on the outside by Adams. He's now back to 3rd, maybe 4th place on the outside. But Toomer moved up. Toomer helped him. And, oh no, there's contact between Philip Beaver and, is that Robbie Wilson?
Yeah, a little bit chippy in the heart of that field. Robbie Wilson is running the bottom of the racetrack. Garrett Austin still running the middle of the circuit. Side by side, building up for second. Joining the battle again is Beaver as they try and sort themselves out early in this run.
3 wide now. That's Wilson in the bottom and many others around here as we come out of turn 2. So far, turn 2 has been pretty calm, JP. At times we see drivers get a little slick, a little loose out of turn 2, but everyone's holding it pretty well. And that's your points leader, Patrick Calgo, up there in that 3 wide battle at times.
Yeah, now this is also going to be tricky because the more they fight, the more they allow Toomer Jr. to pull away a little bit in the midst of that clean air. McGarvey continues to stay committed outside of all this. Patrick Calgill amongst those now boxed in. Oh, and a little bit of cut it close. Apologies. Philip Beaver thinks he just cut it close on a move, but where was the cut it close?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but sometimes what we see in the car, out of the car, and what they see in the car can feel and look different. We've seen that from time to time, but Robbie Wilson's impressing me. As he said, only his 1st or 2nd start in this series, and right in the heat of things, and making moves. Great job by Robbie Wilson here, all over the back of Philip Beaver.
Wrapping the bottom, Philip Beaver for the race lead. Gets the edge. All the way to the middle of the back straightaway, not even towards the wall. Wilson, look at him. 2nd start on this season for the 1 truck. He's going for the lead.
Going for the lead, he is trying to make it work here. Now 3 wide as Beaver on the bottom, as Wilson in the middle. He's up on Toomer. Man, oh man, how that's not contact, I don't know. Great job here. Now let's see if Toomer's willing to push Wilson up to Philip Beaver.
That's difficult task, it seems, here tonight. Haven't seen as much bump drafting per se down the straights as some may expect. Beaver yet again, though, wrapping the bottom. Wilson taking notes. Looks to tap on the hood and say, let's go high side.
By the way, here comes Zach Panzarella back there, 3rd in line on the bottom. Zach's had an incredible week, both racing and non-racing. That puppy adoption event, Mellow Fest, happened over the week, JP. Over 5 dogs adopted, and all of the custom beer they had made for the event sold out. And that beer cans had the same logo and same paint as his truck does tonight.
Great success indeed for that event. Great to hear that when it comes to that, supported by Panzarella and his team. But for Robbie Wilson, for the first time, he is a race leader in this campaign for the PRL Truck Series. The 1 truck just about fully clear. Would this be an upset? Yes. Start number 2 already in the conversation for a win with 17 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's got to feel great for Robbie Wilson. That heart must be pounding. The momentum is building. The palms are probably a little sweaty as Philip Beaver almost came down on Garrett Austin there. Philip Beaver wanted to get to the bottom but could not. And man, look at him still. You talked about how in the longer runs that apron could be slick. Apparently it's not yet because everybody is still down there.
Yeah, that's been an interesting part of tonight because in official racing, everybody's up by the middle of the top line by lap 10, lap 15. Tonight, we haven't had a run past 15 laps, but even then, nobody's been committed to one line. Better yet, nobody's been committed to switch from the middle, or better, from the bottom.
Now, very few people have been committed to anything. I think Panzarella's been committed to the bottom the whole race, but a lot of drivers are hunting and looking and trying to find it. And I'm surprised Panzarella's on the bottom because during the official races this week, he commented to me about how he was surprised to find speed in the high lane. But so far, there it is. He's going to move up. But so far, he's been mostly a bottom lane racer all night long. Right on cue, he moved up, JP.
Need to adapt. That's the critical thing. We're starting to see that adaptation as Robbie J. Wilson plays the lines and feeds the draft. About 15 minutes to go. A 3-truck battle for the lead. Zach Panzarella of note. He's got a chance to become the points leader if things hold. He is right now a couple spots ahead of Calgill. Well ahead to take the lead if things hold.
And the thing with the points battle is interesting tonight, JP. You get a point for leading a lap in the PRL Truck Series. There's lots of drivers who are going to walk away with the bonus points so far with that distinction. Now, my concern for Robbie Wilson as we come back to lead here, has he burned up too much of those tires getting to this lead? Let's see what happens about 5 minutes from now if we stay green. Does he able to hold that line? Is he going to start to kind of slide up and let drivers under him? I'm concerned maybe he burned up too much of his equipment getting to the front.
All that's well. He stays topside, trying to follow the pattern seen throughout the week across the service and the track characteristics throughout its history on the platform. For the longest time, top line, the happy line. After 15 laps in the history of this track on the platform. No one committed it there. Zach Panzarella, the only one up topside. He's going for third. Austin slow for second. And now Panzarella forced to help.
Yeah, Panzarella's going to give him probably a bit of a bump here down the straights. Well, not bump in the corners, but he's going to get some help. That's Mike Timmer now behind him. Mike wants to get back to the front and make things happen for himself here. Only 14 minutes to go on the clock, JP. Great run so far. A couple small yellows, but really a lot of fast and frantic racing all night long.
Hard press to the pedal for Panzarella. He takes away third, this time by. And now Beaver struggling off the corner again. Panzarella says, thank you very much. I'll go for the slide. Speaking of slides in the backdrop, 2-3 trucks nearly crashed it. Stephen Kirby just about got crashed as Panzarella battles for second.
Panzarella's trying to make that move. He was really frustrated last week by losing the points lead. Kind of grumbled at me about how the stupid drop leaks was his quote. And I said, well, but he knows that's part of the system. But once that points lead back, was very proud to be in the lead. And right now, I would think per where him and Calgill run, which is third, in ninth, Panzarella would come out of here with that points lead.
Somehow we're still green. By the way, that's your second driver jetting out at the back in Kirby. All at the front, though. The outside line is now switching on like a white switch. Mike Richter makes up moves with that. Look who's gone from not able to qualify due to penalties to a top 10. The 16, Marty Calvert, on the move up to 7th.
Yeah, Marty's always had some great moments here in the PRL Truck Series, so great to see him up here racing that What-A-Back machine right in front of him. He's got a whole windshield full of trucks. Got one up on the right, slide on the wall. Oh my gosh, who was that? I don't know.
That was Brett Adams. Adams hard in the wall. Got it out at least, but it did nearly crash everybody. It's 3 wide. Up in front where they were just battling, but everyone else survives. That's the bright side. Speaking of where they're battling, does now calm back down. Mike Richter to the inside. Austin yet again looking to try and stay high side. Big slide in the backdrop. What is going on with Austin Hunter? He is slipping and sliding like it's a swimming pool in the backdrop.
Yeah, for a lot of drivers saying this track was slick all night long, or I'm sorry, what said was tight all night long. Now we're seeing Zach Austin having a hard time holding onto this truck. Watch this replay here. This is going to be Brett Adams right here. He's got it up on the wall, was unable to get it off the wall, and probably to an extent held it on the wall. There's no need to pull down in front of the field. No need to cause a wreck. While that's a personal, hit it's a great sportsmanship to not make something worse happen.
Calgio trying to make up passes and quick. Right now we are at a tie for the points lead in the series. Now with Calgio making the pass on a teammate in Richter. Under 12 minutes to go on the clock here tonight from Kansas. So now the top line is the dominant line. What do you do to make the pass? Keep in mind, when asked that question before, it was finding clean air that turned out to be the answer. Where do you find that now?
I don't know if you find it now. I think everyone's kind of settled into their spots, and I don't think you can find it. I mean, right now for Panzarella, it might mean just digging the bottom of the corner once without Philip Beaver, or maybe going to the top if Beaver doesn't. But right now, I think that draft they're doing is the better answer, to get up to Robbie Wilson and then find the clean air. Don't ruin the draft right now. Don't ruin the run you have. Worry about that at a later time.
They'll need to close up the gap. First trouble back straight away. Graham Wildman down hard to the apron. A lot of scrambling as we're under caution. Brett Adams just took a slide hard left. The reason for the yellow, Mark Elliott continuing to make acquaintances with the bumpers. Just had contact with the 92 of Dylan Smith.
Mark's new to oval racing and new to the PRL trucks this season as well, so still kind of getting himself acclimated to what's going on. Western and Michigan University alum is Mark Elliott. So let's take a look here and see what happened here in this moment. Now everyone's going to check up and get caught the pace car here. So, well. I think pit stops are coming, but let's watch this replay first.
Right there.
Oh, up in the wall.
That's the reason for the caution flag. Now, Brett Adams has a meatball flag after that because you seen him cut hard left there on his side, your right. Yeah, he definitely smacked the wall inside.
Related, but not at the same time is what happened to Brett Adams. But now if you look this one more time, watch Adams here. He's going to get nervous. That's Andrew Sharp on the inside, who he avoids. Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, Andrew Sharp helped him. Oh, my goodness.
That hit right there is enough to give him mandatory repairs and put him out of the race as a result.
By the way, JP, live pit stops are happening here as we're watching the replay of Brett Adams. And I can say everyone's down pit road. Everyone is getting what looks to be 4 tires. I was wondering if anyone would be brave enough to try 2 tires.
We have had one. We've had one. Marty Calvert just won the race on pit road. Everybody else in the entire field took 4. You know who just rolled the dice, though? We'll see if it's kept on the table or put back in the pocket by Kyle Dewey. He stays out. He had been running mid-pack at the time of caution.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Kyle Dewey. He told me that it was difficult to pass here with all the cars pretty close together. So he felt like a mini super speedway. So he's going to stay out of danger. So we'll see if maybe this is a strategy call. Listen, the best way to stay out of danger, JP, is usually to be at the front of the field. Because in theory, at the front of the field, you can't get wrecked. In theory.
It's a big risk, though. 23 lap-old tires.
Oh, yeah. What Dewey's hoping, that's not a word, what Dewey's hoping for, pardon me, is that basically we go green and then we go yellow. Dewey doesn't want this to become a race. Dewey's hoping that from here that people get impatient, they get frantic, they get aggressive, and then he doesn't have to green flag race that long. So we'll see if this does pay out for Kyle Dewey. I mean, he started this race 18th, JP.
He's got damage, too. That's going to slow him up. But Calvert did take the risk on 2 tires. It might hold for a bit. But here's the thing. If it's stop-start, these drivers, at the rate things look, based on the timing, need it to happen within about a minute and a half. Or should I say after 90 seconds. Then it should be race under yellow if there's a yellow flag. The point of no return is 4 minutes to go tonight.
Isn't that a more appropriate name than normal, seeing as how we're at Kansas? And the band Kansas had a song called Point of No Return. So that's where we are. Now, the question I would have for you, JP, and I'm just trying to ponder this for myself, You have Panzarella behind a driver who is on 2 tires. You have Robbie Wilson on a driver behind with basically no tires. Which one would you be more nervous behind? I think I'd be more nervous behind the 2 tires, actually.
I've been more nervous behind those on the no tires. It looks like he has come down, though, and given himself a black flag. Kyle Dewey, penalty, entering a closed pit lane, elects to take the tires now and get himself a bonus point instead.
And that's bad news for Marty Calvert.
Yeah, that gives Calvert less of a buffer once he got settled around, Dewey at least. But now leaves him as the only driver on 2 tires. By the time we restart, 2 to 3 laps should get us to past the point of no return. Then it's race on to see who gets it.
Yeah, so right when Dewey was up there, Calvert had that sort of buffer of the front row both being on the tire situation. And, it could have given them a couple seconds before drivers got aggressive around them. But now with just Calvert on the bottom, I expect to see Robbie Wilson and others, Garrett Austin and others in the top line, really, really aggressive. Zach Panzarella is now the big loser, in my mind, in this situation.
Calvert, Wilson, front row, Panzarella, Austin, Dowgill, Hunter, McGarvey, Toomer Jr., Sharp, Richter, your top 10. Green flag is out. 5 minutes to go. Only about 11 laps to decide it. If it goes green the rest of the way, can Calvert stand on 2 tires, or can drivers like Robbie Wilson battle for the win? Wilson looking for his first contact for Sharp off of Beaver in the heart of the field. Here comes Robbie Wilson for the race lead to the inside. He gets help from Panzarella.
Well, I want to take a moment and praise Marty Calvert before he goes to the back of the field. Did a great job in that start, did not spin the tires, was very, very comfortable and smooth. So great job there, but unfortunately now it's probably going to become more of a moving chicane back through the field here. Robbie Wilson, Zach Panzarella, Garrett Austin, 1, 2, and 3 with about 4.5 minutes to go.
Tick, tick, tick goes the clock, down to 9 laps estimated. The restart lap burned up 2 estimated total. Panzarella, he looks inside. A block from Wilson down on the late arc. Now Panzarella forced to reshape and retool as he's forced to lift a bit.
Well, Panzarella the past weeks has not benefited from any late yellows. Both times the late yellows come out, he's either lost his spot or just lost the race in the case of the past 2 races. So Panzarella wants us to stay green. And even though we're at Kansas, JP, I suspect a little bump and run could be in our future if we stay green.
Do they dare do it is a huge question, absolutely. Panzarella, though, he's right now in a position where he'd be tied for the points lead if it holds. Patrick Calgill looking to flip that script upside down because he's alongside Austin for 3rd for a moment. Now Panzarella's alongside Wilson. Is this going to be the time? The outside builds up in time for a move. Not yet. Wilson goes to block again.
But there's that clean air move you talked about, and when Wilson moving down, now that top lane has momentum with a little bit of draft behind it. Wilson, I think, moved prematurely, and let's see if they keep up that momentum here. It's Garrett Austin, it's Patrick Calgill, Philip Beaver, and others behind it. Now Zach Panzarella all the way to the bottom wants to make this move, and I think he might have it here in a turn 1.
He peels him off the bottom. Wilson forced to try and diamond. To the race lead, Zach Panzarella. This is the first time he's up at the point in this field here tonight from Kansas. Wilson prefers the outside, tries to see if that works now. It took extra time than normal. The last run for that line to work. Now he's under attack for 2nd instead with 2.5 minutes to go.
And great news for Panzarella that's got 1 bonus point for leading a lap here in the truck, so that helps that point battle with Patrick Calgill. Now they're 2 behind him. It's Garrett Austin now is going to try to give a run here to Panzarella, and it is still wild and crazy here. 2 minutes to go. We are officially, JP, at that point, by the way, whether it be the yellow flag or the checkered flag, one of them is going to end this race.
Next flag ends the race from here. Looking for the back end, Panzarella trying to play the lines. Wilson staying up middle high side. Austin prefers bottom, gets the draft off Panzarella. Can Austin upset things a little bit here? Not yet. Wilson again, stronger for the backstretch. The top is starting to turn on late.
The top is getting lined up here. I mean, look, there's probably, 9-10 cars in that line. Garrett Austin's all by himself, so the only benefit he gets is that Panzarella comes to the bottom of the corners and then circles back out, so he gets a little bit of help on the draft, but probably not enough here to hold off that. But I mean, Marty Calvert hanging back there in P6, JP. I was wrong, and I'm happily wrong. I thought Calvert would have fallen much, much further back in only 2 tires.
Good recovery on the balance for Calvert, but down to about 3 miles to go at the strike. Calvert blocking Toomer Jr. for 6th. Up for the race lead. Things get dicey. Calvert calms down. Wilson calms up. Tries to ants up to the outside. 3 miles to work with, 2 laps to go.
Here we go. Less than 1 minute on the clock, and look how close it is. Robbie Wilson is not letting Panzarella get that full line in. Panzarella wants to get clear and move up, and he does right there. But he's got to be careful for the overcut here. Oh, look at that wiggle.
Tries to bait him. Panzarella stays bottom. Cowgill, he's up to 3rd on the slider on Austin.
Wow, what a great moment this is for that points battle, because they are right there. White flag, JP.
Final time around from Kansas. Wilson stays up top shelf. Panzarella tries to wrap the bottom. Cowgill tries to help the rookie. Can Robbie Wilson in his 2nd start of the trucks pull off the upset? Panzarella tries to get a side draft. Wilson works into the 2nd groove. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checker flag waves up on the stand. Panzarella has the edge. Wilson looks for the angle. Side by side for the win. It is Panzarella by 4/1,000 of a second. Zach Panzarella gets the W in Kansas.
Wow. I thought for sure it was going to be Wilson who had the momentum run there, but wow.
And the response over the radio, straight up, I can't believe it, from Zach Panzarella.
Oh, I can't believe it. I had to watch it again here. This is the battle up. I honestly think had Robbie Wilson not raining down, I think had Wilson had just kind of let that truck flow up, I think he would have covered that gap. Watch it again. We're doing a little bit slow-mo here. Wow.
It was close. Wilson admits he got loose, and that's the difference. A dream season continues for Zach Panzarella, now a 2-time winner in PRL competition and in the trucks, as the team celebrates with him.
Yeah, it's a great moment for Zach. Won now twice this season. So close to a 3rd back at Talladega when he lost it by literally just fractions of a second when the yellow came out. So Zach has got to be over the moon right now. And I bet we can hear him. Wow, there it is. That's wow.
Lightning close for the win tonight. A dream season continues for Zach Panzarella, a 2-time winner now in the PRL, and he gets it by to the nearest 10,000, 5/1,000ths of a second. Wilson and Cowgill round out your podium, a Chevy 1, 2, 3. Austin Hunter edges out Garrett Austin at the line. Marty Calvert and Mike Toomer Jr. finish 6th and 7th. McGarvey, Beaver, and Richter end off the night in the top 10. The fan favorite Graham Wildman at one point was as high as 7th, finishes 11th after dropping to the teens after not having the right lines. Will Jennings finishes off in 12th after the birthday celebration. Tallahassee finishes 13th. Edward Peltz 14th. Mackey, Stacy Hunter, David Schmidt, Sharp, and Alex Wright, your top 20. Rounding out the field tonight, Tanner Johnson had a rough night. He finished towards the tail of 21st. Zachary Austin, Mark Elliott did not make too many friends on track in the 4-wide machine. He ends up finishing ahead of 2 laps down Kyle Doobie, 14 laps down Brett Adams, and the rest the DNFs of Stephen Kirby, Nick Hunter, and Brennan Chatley. Already a flurry of drivers rushing towards victory lane and rushing to the interview opportunity. Zach Panzarella, you are a 2-time winner in the PRL. Talk about dream seasons. Talk about the finish.
What is my life, guys? Oh my god, I'm still shaking. My voice is gone. Yeah, that was the craziest finish I've ever been a part of in this league or in official racing or anything. I'm looking at the gap and it's 0.004. All the credit to Robbie. He drove me so clean. That was so much fun. When he got next to me in 1 and 2, I was really, really scared. And my only plan in 3 and 4 was just to enter as high as possible, give myself the best arc I could, and not take either one of us out in the process. I felt like one of us deserved that finish. So I'm so glad it went the way it did. And I'm so glad that both of us got across the finish line. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
A crazy finish to this one here tonight. And it also comes off the roots of a strong event. Your sponsor for the truck throughout the season, Mellow Fest, believe that just finished up. Derek Watson mentioned it a little bit here. Talk to us about that connection and now that success of that event, also feeding a little bit of momentum to your truck race tonight.
Totally. I'm a very superstitious person, so I'm not sure if you guys noticed I was still running the dog car, but I just swapped out the logos, so now it says Daily Drivers Inc. instead of Metal Fest. But yeah, that was on Sunday, and it was such a big success, and thank you, Derek, for mentioning that. We got a bunch of dogs adopted, showcased a bunch of gorgeous cars, had such a great time, drank some delicious beer, ate some amazing food, and it was just a huge success for Daily Drivers Inc. And if anyone here is watching from the 805, thank you for supporting us. Thank you everyone who made the trip to that show, and thank you to my amazing show staff, who I don't give enough credit on the other side of this company. So Juan, Lobo, Brian, Brandon, Aaron, Erica, thank you guys all so much as well. But yeah, it was a huge success. Thank you guys for asking, and can't wait for next year.
Now, of note, this takes a major turn for the championship too, because before tonight, you were down by 2 to Calgill. Depending on how the official standings go, you're either going to become the leader or being just about tied with Calgill, with you having said advantage. How does that add to the pressure for Darlington next week?
I think the only guy in this league that likes Darlington as much as Calgill does is me. So I'm excited to race him next week. I've heard he's like Bradley Holly fast, so I'm nervous about that. But I'm confident about Darlington. I really, really love difficult tracks. I love tracks that other people struggle to get by and even be fast at, and that's my bread and butter. So I'm really excited. Yeah, the pressure is for real. I haven't finished outside the top 5 this year, so I just got to keep that momentum going. Again, like you said, it's his dream season. I think I had never had a season before this with more than 1 top 5. So this is insane. And yeah, just got to keep the momentum rolling, not rely on that drop race, and just do everything I can. And man, we'll just see what happens. There's only 3 more to go after this. Still.
Yes, indeed. On that note, any shout outs you like to give tonight?
Yeah, I want to give one to my team, obviously. Dalton, Dylan, Tom, Graham, Chris, Dom, all you guys, thank you so much. Promise I'd shout out my good friend Jordan Gibson. He's always the first one I text after my bad races and complain to. He's my emotional support. So I promise I'd shout you out. Love you, Jordan. Love you to my beautiful fiance, Aaron. Love you so much. Thank you for putting up with all this practice, and thank you to my family, who I know is watching now. Hope I'm making you guys proud. And thank you to PRL for putting this great league. Thank you to RaceSpot for broadcasting. Can't wait to watch that one. I can't wait to see what that finish looked like on your guys' end. And thank you guys for making all my dreams come true. I can't describe how much fun I'm having right now.
Once again, congratulations, Zach, on the victory here tonight.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
That's Zach Panzarella having a good race to pick up his second career PRL victory. Robbie Wilson, in his second start in this series, nearly gets the W. He's with Derek Watson instead.
Robbie, what was that? That's so incredible. A second start of the league, and you're already up there in the battle. When you crossed the finish line, did you think you had it?
No. Out of 4, I knew I got loose and just didn't have the run. So I didn't want to push him down into the grass. So
wow,
just
be proud of yourself. Yeah, be proud of yourself for a second place for a person. I think your second start in the league. It's an awesome run. What was it like out there tonight?
Very fast. Top line was definitely the faster lane for the later runs, but all around, just great racing out there.
All right. Well, next week is Darlington. What's your experience with that track?
None at all.
All right. Well, that's honest. Well, you got a week to learn it and a very tough track, and we'll see you next week.
Well, I plan to go in at hopefully top 5. I came into this one with no experience also.
There you go. That's the way to be. Well, listen, Robbie, great job. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, that's Robbie Wilson, finished P2 here tonight at Kansas Speedway.
Patrick Calgio rounds out the top 3 here tonight. Patrick, well, first things first, talk to us about the run here tonight at a track that you had mentioned with Derek was not one of your stronger ones. You still put up a strong finish.
Yeah, I don't like this track because it seems like the line is up at the wall the whole time, and you try to make a pass and you can't because you get tight if you go on the inside. And I was struggling to get out of like 8th and 9th there for like the whole first half of the race, and yeah, I don't know how I ended up managing to get up there, but it worked out, I guess.
Talk to us as well then about the championship battles, because it's been interesting to keep an eye on. Panzarella, of course, gets himself a volley that puts on a strong performance with the win. What are your thoughts on the championship now? 3 races to go, and it's looking like you two are the favorites.
I really think it's going to come down to Charlotte, and I don't know how Zach is at Charlotte, but I suck there, so I'm hoping to get as many points as I can next week, and that way when it comes to Charlotte, I have quite as much to worry about.
It was led on a little bit actually by your winner, Zach Panzarella, here tonight, that in terms of the favorites of Darlington, he mentioned 2 things. That you like Darlington, and that there's no one who likes Darlington more than himself. He also said apparently people compare you to Bradley Holly there. Why is that, and how do you live up to that expectation at a track that's too tough to tame by many?
Yes, Darlington is by far my favorite track on the entire iRacing service, and it's the only track that I've been able to compete with Brad Holly on as far as speed. Back when the truck series was the only series on Wednesday night, it was the one track that I was able to run in the top 5 with all them guys, and I just have really bad luck every time I go there, so hopefully I don't have that this time.
Well, on that note, any show that you could give very quickly?
Yeah, I got to thank Whataback Racing. Those guys did awesome tonight, and they're a ton of helping me with getting faster and all that stuff. And CTN, MB1, Connecting Cure. I got to thank RaceSpot and PRL for putting everything together.
Well, once again, congratulations, Patrick, on the top 3 tonight. We'll see how Darlington takes things there.
Thank you, guys.
Patrick Calgio rounding out the top 3 here tonight. Very quickly, we'll touch upon things as Darlington is next week at 8:30 p.m. The place too tough to tame. Someone's going to have to tame it to win the race, though, Derek.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild race. Lots of black stripes across the right sides of those cars. We'll wait and see who can do it. But now I think we're ready for our second race, which is the Grand National Series.
Yes, indeed. It's time to reset the card. It's time to reset things, as it's time to go Grand National Racing. Welcome once again to RaceSpotTV for tonight's coverage of the Precision Racing League, as the Grand National Series now takes the stage and now looks to live up to what was a drag race finish in the Truck Series. I'm Justin Prince, once again alongside with the booth tonight, Derek Watson. Joshua Lee is our producer for this evening's festivities as we get ready for the mid-portions closings. Derek, we've already seen one exciting race tonight. It's time for another one. Derek, in turn, let's talk about the schedule. This is the lead into Darlington and then Road America in Charlotte. This is, in fact, also your second to last mile and a half on the schedule. So these drivers look to try and settle in for what should be a wild final third of the season. Richard Regan Jr., we've already been told, is not here tonight, so he'll take the drop week. He had a major buffer over a teammate and development driver, Dustin Scruggs, entering tonight. Abdur Acosta, Bradley Holly, Company and RaceSpotTV, your top 5 enter the evening. Ted Lowendick has showed good speed at the short tracks in particular this season. Daniel Knight, Colton Lane, Jeff Evans amongst your top 9 entering this evening, with Zepke in the top 10. The team standings, meanwhile, RBM looking to try and get the hammers out and look to see what happens here tonight. Whataback Racing following up for much of the rest of the top 5. Overdrive, TNT, back row. Back and forth with RBM2 in the midst of those standings. 6 Box is the nearest driver from that point and from team perspectives. A lot to talk about. We've already touched upon moments ago. Richard Regan Jr. not in the field tonight as he works on his rear-world race car this evening. That opens up the potential for a winner tonight. Qualifying already underway. How will these cars drive here in Kansas?
Well, per the driver notes, JP, a lot of them are saying the same. We're seeing issues off of turn 2. So we'll see if there's any different in how these cars behave. I don't suspect so. I suspect be about the same. Maybe a little bit more slick because as is a day race, so the track's going to be warmer and go around here. But look at this. This is Abner Acosta, PRL veteran, racing out here in that 5 machine. Going to come down and set a time. Let's see where he finishes. Waiting for it. They're at P6 in his first run.
Solid first lap as he tries to build up momentum high side. We already seen the high side, a strong line earlier on in the trucks in the night conditions. It's going to get interesting how it handles for the day conditions for this car, because this is one of the more intriguing tracks to see drivers race at. It's in fact a very much favorite for some people in the service, as Daniel Knight top of the board all of a sudden.
Yeah, Daniel Knight. Here's Matt Gagnon, by the way. Came in and helped me out with the PRL Cup broadcast on Sunday night, so thank you to Matt. Got his Twitch channel right there on the side of his car, JP, so doing a little self-promotion as he drives around the track.
Yes, indeed, as one does, but he's amongst the many, making it clear if you want to do well here, you better wrap the top. Looks like he's... Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm used each week. That little self-promotion tag gets a little bit fancier. Now you get his Instagram name. He races the New Hampshire 6 shooters. His next race is 5-4. So he had his first real-life race over the weekend.
Oh, he hit the wall. He's not going to be able to improve from 9th. Now, this is a different look. Bradley Hawley has changed the primary sponsor tonight, and what is that?
Yeah, let's take a look as it goes around. This is much different. Last week, remember, he was in that shiny, almost turquoise-looking car. And now we got a new look completely.
I'll be honest, I can't understand the text. It's a Star Wars theme.
Oh, right.
Is it Star Wars Day?
Yeah, well, it is Star Wars week, so it's May the 1st today in real life. So on Saturday is May the 4th. You know, May the 4th be with you. And then Sunday is Revenge of the 5th. And also, LEGO just put out a new TIE Interceptor kit that both Bradley Holly and Mark Kalin have purchased. And if it's not in Bradley's webcam yet, it will be soon. He has made space for it on his desk.
The funny thing is about that, too, around the same time as things in the lead up to this year's Star Wars Official Day on the May 4th, to be the 4th with you, how do I phrase this without sounding crazy? Carrie Fisher, one of the actors in the movie, did say it was the most expensive low-budget film ever made.
Yes, it probably was back then. And a great set of movies all the way around. So I think qualifying has now almost wrapped up, about 20 seconds left here. And everyone's put a time on the board here. I think only Danny Cervantes, Dominic Benign, and Dustin Scruggs would be left without a qualifying time.
So we're just about all set to go here for tonight's festivities. Here from Kansas, the Grand National Series now ready to go. No drivers had penalties from last week. Those did not qualify. on choice. Ted Lowendick, though, sets the pole by a close margin. 3/4 of a second over Bradley Holly, but Thomas Sink starting in the next row. His orange-black machine taking a bit of a look to Tony Stewart more and more each week alongside Daniel Knight this week. Colton Lane in the Mark Martin throwback alongside James Morgan in the Tabula Rasa machine. Mark Kalin, Doug Evans, your top 8. Reese Bogue in 9th alongside Adam Zemke. Jeff Evans and Chris Dean having a solid run in quali in 12. Matt Gagnon hit the wall in qualifying. Even then, he starts 13th here tonight. Dalton Geyer starts next. Abner Acosta all the way back in P15. He also had some struggles in the qualifying session. He chose top line both sides and was slow off the mark. Nick McLaughlin next in the order. Jim Westerfield and J.C. Evans. That's a newer name to this field. The 9 machine will start off as the last to set a time tonight. He's honoring Kane's Island, the theme park. New starters, or rather those who did not set qualifying times for starting lap, Scruggs, Begun, and Cervantes. As mentioned, much hotter conditions for this one, with it being a later evening start. 90 degrees, that track temperature Fahrenheit. It is a little bit hot out there.
Yeah, it's a little hot indeed, isn't it? So these cars will be a little bit more slick, probably a little bit more loose than what we saw in the previous race. So expect to see a little bit more sliding around, maybe some more tails wagging around as we get going around this track with 55 minutes, JP, and a little bit longer run. So a little bit more tires burnt off. But I think the keys to victory are the same. Probably stay in that draft, conserve the tires, and be careful out of turn 2.
And it looks like we're just waiting for one more driver to get themselves buckled up. And the reason for that is, I believe we've had one miss the grid. Can confirm Danny Cervantes did not make it to the green button that says grid in time. So, Ted Lowendick setting the pole tonight. One of his first poles, in fact, believe in a mile and a half here this evening. So, leads the question here too. In addition, who gets it done in Kansas and why?
Oh my God. It's such a difficult question. There's so much talent in this field, and Lowendick's had moments of brilliance in this series. Bradley Holly, of course, I think the winningest driver in all PRL, is a great candidate. Mark Kalin's really come alive this season in multiple forms, both in Grand Nationals and in Cup. He's a great candidate. Reese Bogue has moments like that. But I'm going to go the safe pick tonight, JP, even though he's back in the field, and I'm picking Abner Acosta.
One of the strongest drivers on long runs. He has been one of those putting up the best of fights all year against Regan Jr. Glad to have you with us tonight here on Race Spot for coverage of the PRL's Grand National Series as we go day racing from Kansas. Ted Lowendick, the second time on Wednesday nights on the pole, takes the green flag. We're underway again from Kansas City. That lead didn't last long. It's Bradley Holly who takes the lead for lap 1. And already contact. Daniel Knight getting door-to-door with Lowendick.
Well, you can say Bradley's using the force and being strong with it is his way around there on the outside. Got the lead pretty early and tracks all the way out of turn 2. That's the way to keep the momentum here. You want to use every inch of that racetrack to get down here towards the white line in turns 3 and 4. But right now, Daniel Knight may close that gap. Holly may not get it back to the top of the track.
Daniel Knight, he takes lap number 2, and just like that, the battle of those who take the force of the top line and carry it around, going back and forth for the lap time. Thomas Sink, it's one of his better qualified runs as well here tonight. He's a longtime veteran. It's been an up and down year for the 48. He looks to get up and find some momentum. He's topside 2 at night.
Yeah, lots of up and down seasons here in the Grand National Series this season, but Knight is trying really hard here. Bradley Holly's racing it pretty well. Holly almost down to the bottom of that apron, and now leads that lap here. So now it's Holly in the lead of Knight by number of laps led so far.
And as expected, Daniel says, no thank you. Press the gas hard, and yet again clear. Now remember, Knight over the season has been better short to mid-run. Better Holly long run in that. Now these two you see on screen, we mentioned some of the wild cards in terms of the front runners early already. Just 5 laps in next time by. Thomas Sink looking to find some good footing. Just 2 top 10s all year before tonight.
Man, look at the wild cards. Look at Mark Kalin back there running top 5 early in the evening. Mark's a long-time PRL veteran, very, very involved in the PRL, and so really has had a great run this season. I'm really surprised that he's put himself back towards the front again. And speaking of up and down seasons, back there, P7 James Morgan in that black and red top at a Rossi Esports machine had an amazing run last season, JP, and hasn't followed it up that well.
In fact, he's being taken 3 wide. You mentioned Morgan. That's come down as you take a look at Sink still. Mark Kalin's already had a couple close calls. Bubbles the wall sponge. So far, happy to get the sponges out a little bit, at least twice on the right front. Race lead. And Knight continues to keep the top line going.
Yeah, Knight told me he felt comfortable. Says his only real concern about the race tonight would be all the restarts, since he doesn't want to die on a restart. He's concerned about how frantic they get. So he feels comfortable in the car. You're seeing it right now because he has put a good 0.2 of a second on Bradley Holly here pretty early in this race.
We touched upon the difficulties of trying to make a pass here within a top dominated race. Many drivers just talked about it last race in the trucks, in fact. Drivers get tight, very tight. Corner exit, it is actually, in some rounds from the pro scene, considered counterintuitive for the tire save to get out of the dirty air and go to the bottom here just because of how much slower you are corner exit. And Daniel tried to test it, just threw away the lead to Bradley Holly.
Yeah, Bradley did a great job with the over-under there and got around him and is now going to possibly take the lead here through 3 and 4. Thomas Sink is going to move down with Bradley Holly, and they'll race that bottom groove together. But Knight's going to hold the lead here, JP, and will lead yet another lap here at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, and Daniel Knight's trying different things at least as a leader. But trying something different would cost him the lead. However, what was the point going to be made? Trying to find a way to get a pass done is going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, that's a thing we saw amongst the drivers in the comments all night long as well, is passing is hard, the turns are hard, and I think that's why Daniel Knight's concerned about the restarts, because a lot of drivers realize if any happen here, that will be their best opportunity to make something happen here.
They still play around with different lines here of note in the early going. Someone's on the move, and keep an eye on car 35. Jim Westerfield has found a rocket ship and applied it to his machine because he's gone from 17th qualifying spot and is looking for 5th already.
Looking for 5th he is, and trying to get up there as Jim Westerfield wants to take it away for Ted Lowendick. And the 72 is going to track way high here. And it's just going to let Westerfield go, and he'll live to fight another day and maybe conserve those tires for a battle later on in this race. We're about 5 minutes in here, JP. A little bit of movement back and forth, and drivers are starting to get comfortable in this run. You see already, look at this, how much people are moving.
Oh, a lot of people in the wall. Mark Kalin was in the wall. Daniel Knight was in the wall. New race leader, Bradley Holly. And that was the concern. People burning up their stuff. What happens when you do that, Derek? You get tight on the right front. A lot of people just stuff the right fronts into the wall.
There's also this thing that happens in racing, JP, as well, where it feels like it almost target fixation per se, but it feels like once you watch someone run the wall, for some reason it happens, where you just kind of follow them, and it's frustrating as a driver. You get mad at yourself and everything, but you can end up following someone into a wall and making the same mistake.
So Knight looks to recover immediately for the second position to the bottom. Thomas Sink able to get better runs though from the outside, able to hold serve in the midst of that fight. Westerfield and all that with Kalen's troubles has moved up to fourth as well. Another driver just got the note of that's starting to pick up some speed as well. Yet to make some passes quite yet. Car 57. Adam Zemke is still in the top 10. Originally started 10th, in fact, just moved one spot. That car is also starting to make up some ground for the spotters. They're starting to note they're making it work bottom and top line.
Well, you and I have the talk, I think, every week now about how, some drivers are better short term, some drivers are better long run. And in a race like this, that really becomes prevalent when you see drivers who burned up their tires early, and you see someone like an Adam Zemke come through who's maybe been a little bit more conservative, has some tires left, and can make his way through the field. You'll see them, start to rise to the top as this run goes on here. Not that 5 minutes is a long run, but at a track like this where it feels like you're burning tires pretty quickly, it doesn't take long to wear out some tires.
Kalen hitting it high side. Wants the spot back from Jim. Westerfield not comfortable up wall side, it looked like. And that's the thing. You have to get comfortable running up there and get the practice down. That's just the nature of the racetrack. It's top, fastest, bottom, slowest after all.
And there are drivers who don't have that comfort level because you're always scared of scrubbing the wall. You're always scared of hitting the wall, and so you don't want to run up there, even though you recognize that maybe there is some speed to be had. So there's something to be said for having the skill to get up there against that wall and run it all the time. Because we saw with Brett Adams in the last race, that if you get up there and you touch that wall, it can have a major impact on how the rest of your race goes.
Lowendick still trying to get a spot back for fifth. Here's a look for your race leader, though. He is in full Star Wars gear.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it's boxed, but there's the new TIE Interceptor in the background. By the way, no webcam for Bradley Holly this week, or no visor cam. Say for Bradley Holly.
But if you haven't noticed, he changed just about every single part of that room to be Star Wars geared, except for the space shuttle still. Literally swapped everything to Star Wars, including the calendar.
Oh, yeah. Bradley's a major Star Wars nerd. We had a small talk about it in Discord today, and he's been happy all since last week. We're showing off the TIE Interceptor in a group call that happened after the race last week. So very happy for Bradley to get to celebrate this big Star Wars day. I wanted to ask him if we can, how much of the marathon he's doing this weekend for the movies.
Yeah, that's a question, and then some. We'll talk about that maybe later on. But one thing on the radar. Remember your pick from tonight, Abner Acosta? He just found a gear. In fact, he's found the long run speed, already 20 laps in, already near halfway to the fuel run. He is on the move, picked up 2 spots in 1 lap. He's already looking for a third in 2.5 laps. Not yet, as he's between some RBM cars.
Yeah, right there. You got Reese Bogue ahead of him, and I think he's got Matt Gagnon behind him. Reese was told me he wasn't a fan of this track tonight. Said he just could not get the car to turn off at 2, which is a pretty common thing. Says it's a tire-saving race, and Reese is not always known for his tire saving. Of course, Reese and the whole team, Regan Jr., a lot of them had troubles with fuel mileage last week, JP. They were very upset after the race, unsure why they burnt more fuel off and had to pit at the end of the race, but they're looking to have a comeback here without their team leader.
All I can say to that, especially in a fixed setup series, is practice makes very good help on strategy. Acosta slides up and makes a move. Up in front, it's been getting darty because Jeff Evans has been running top 5 much of the way. He, too, followed in the footsteps of Bradley Holly paint scheme tonight. Took a little bit of a different approach to it, but everyone is approaching him and saying, I want to pass, as Jim gets very tight. Westerfield with a big check.
Yeah, now as the tires are starting to wear off and everyone's getting a little bit more sketchy in how they're racing, now the passes will begin to happen a little bit more commonly here as drivers have those moments of a car up in the wall at the top there. And Westerfield, as you said, that's going to fall back. That lets Reese Bogue get by. Matt Gagnon went on by. So he's going to fall back quickly here through the field.
So one driver that hasn't made a giddy up on any spots so far, I think it's important to mention. Second in points coming into tonight, as we see the battle going on for fourth. The 11 of Dustin Scruggs did not get anything done in quali, has not done anything at all this race. That is big for the standings if Dustin cannot get going.
Yeah, there's Dustin, in fact, and I mean, he knows already that Richard Regan will score 32 points tonight. That would become Richard's new points with him dropping a 0 in this race. So anything Dustin can gain over 32 points tonight has to be big. And if you're back in P18, I don't know what you're going to accomplish, so you might want to figure that out.
His lowest number of points scored so far this season at 27. For those wanting a reference point on how that works for points, where he's running gets him a 25.
Yeah, that means he'd still lose points on Regan when all is said and done. So he's got to find a way to be aggressive here. Maybe an aggressive call on a pit stop or under caution and make it happen. There's Pin living up to the name as he just smacked that wall out of 2. And he is not the only driver who has that distinction on his resume tonight.
This car may have, in real life, the carbon fiber body, but you can't really hit the wall 200 times and hope it stays the same piece.
No, you really can't. In fact, at the rate they're going tonight, JP, we talk about Darlington stripes next week. Some of these guys might be having Kansas stripes on these cars out of turn 2 if we're not careful here. And it's just that close. And now Mark Kinnan came out a little bit more and still running pretty solidly here with Ted Lowendick. Here, this is the battle for 4th and 5th.
Just got word that no one has hit the wall hard enough to significantly damage their car. That's very big bright side. Downside, how long does that last?
Yeah, that's
interestingly enough, 2 drivers have really been able to find a groove up high side. We're still looking at Bubbles the Wall Sponge, but Holly and Sink have really mastered the top. They've built up a huge run over KLN of near 4 seconds now, as it's 3 wide in the heart of the field.
Look at that. That's Reese Bogan, the 4 all the way to the top there. So the 51, that's Jeff Evans in the middle. That's also a new look for Jeff Evans, I believe, in the 51, isn't it?
Yes, just talked about that with the Star Wars look tonight. Oh, a big run back, though. Reese Bogue looking for the slider back around Acosta. Does Acosta let him take it? No. Bogue had to get hard off the gas.
I'll tell you, you don't want that battle to go on all night for either driver. You both will burn up your equipment and risk some kind of contact if that stays in place there. So now it is Abner Acosta, Jeff Evans, and Reese Bogue in that order.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a tight window, but back up towards some of the conversations towards the front. There's that reference to Zemke. We talked about him not getting spots yet. Well, guess what? He's gained spots. He's now in the conversation for the top 5.
And look at that gap, though, between Daniel Knight in 3rd and where Mark Keelan is here. As this camera turns around, watch this. That's how big that gap is. You'd have to think Daniel Knight really has this kind of made them dust in the wind here at Kansas.
I can't tell if that's a reference to the state or a song. And the song?
Or the band.
Oh, both. It's very much so. I'm not going to get into the movie reference on that song as well, but with under 40 minutes to go, strategy about to become on the minds of some. The estimate for laps tonight was interesting. More than 100. That's a lot longer than some of the other races, and lap count, that's going to make it a tight one-stopper, because with the top line in play, it's not as simple as, in theory, 60-something odd laps at Kansas on fuel.
No, it's not that simple. And in fact, what may complicate it a little bit more, with it currently being about 5:30 p.m. virtual sim time, the sun's going to go down a little, the track temp will drop a little, the track will speed up a little. And so I'm curious to know if that projection would maybe even increase by a lap before we're done. So if this stays green, it will be a lot of math going on, a lot of spreadsheets burning, a lot of guesses, a lot of automated AI programs helping them out to figure out when and how to pit to make this a one-stopper if they can.
About 38 minutes to go on the clock for those tuning in. The PRL Grand National Series continuing to zip around Kansas. Bradley Holly, he's up by near a full second. Over the past few laps, he's been up to a tenth of a second quicker than everyone else in the field. He's in overdrive. In fact, that's not even the right term. He is driving it perfect to not overdrive it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Perfect is a great word for it. I used the term earlier. He's using the force. He's become one with the car. Just all the Star Wars references I can muster up in my head that might be prevalent here.
Yeah, this has been a solid run for the field. No cautions. Ted thought about a look. Is trying it. Can he pressurize Bubbles to the wall? No. In fact, Bubbles the wall sponge. Good defense to keep it side by side to the corner.
Yeah, doing a great job here. You see Lowendick, by the way, one of the few cars that I've noticed still getting all the way down there on the apron. And I'm a little surprised the car handles that well on that apron. I thought it would have slicked up more by now, but maybe the lack of use of it will make it last a little bit longer as we go. Well, here we are. Ted Lowendick still racing hard with Mark Caitlin. This is probably the closest battle on the track that we can find, and that's Colton Lane back there in the 60 up to P7. I don't know where he came from.
Yeah, he's been up there. You know what? We just had a change for a second. Thomas Sick just lost time. Caitlin again to the wall, though. And nearly Colton Lane following him. There's a look at what just changed now at second. Thomas Sink lost time because he stuffed in the fence.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that, guys. But that was a concern all night long. Almost every driver I can tell you I talked to, Dustin Scruggs, Bradley Holly, Daniel Knight, Matt Gagnon, Jeff Evans, all of them, basically in one way or another, told me they were concerned about turn 2. They knew it was going to be the problem of the racetrack tonight. So that appears to be a consistent answer and a correct answer all night long here.
So Thomas Sink starting to look very squirrely. Already touched upon the field numbers, but 65 estimated laps to go in this race. We're 35 laps of the run this time by. One driver we haven't touched upon too much yet. The second of the Evans cars, the Chevy of J.C. Evans. And that's going to be interesting because, first of all, there is no relation, with his understanding. But second, one of his first starts for the Ohio State, the Buckeye State.
The best state, if you will, for J.C. Evans, part of that. So, doing well here in that number 9 machine. And really kind of a very, I will say basic, JP, that's a very insulting word, but very plain, just themed to some thunder and lightning. And it's not an insult. I'm saying I like how simple it is.
It is his first start of the season, by the way. And now the 9 machine doing solidly, funnily enough, to catch up to Jeff Evans on the track.
And of course, Jeff does have a relative in the PRL, his dad, Doug, who I do not believe is in the field tonight, but does race here throughout the week in PRL. And
he is in the field.
Oh, he is in the field.
I Doug is he is in 16th.
Look at that. I missed him on the board. I apologize, Doug. Sorry about that. But that is father and son. They race together and have helped each other to a win or in winning positions before. So sorry, Doug, I missed you there. But that is Jeff's dad.
Back to Akasa, though. He's up to 7th. Slowly picking him off one by one. He's right now running as one of the few drivers in a 32-second bracket still.
Things really have kind of calmed down here, JP. Drivers now kind of found a line. They feel comfortable. Now, man, as we saw Lowendick scrub the wall from the front of that camera shot, saw the smoke come up there. Things have kind of calmed down. Drivers now just kind of now getting tenths of a second on each other as things have really found their spot here. Here's Matt Gagnon, Dominic Begin here, 14th and 15th. And then that's Nick McLaughlin right behind him in a 41. That's Doug Evans in a 41. I'm all off on the green cars tonight. I apologize.
Again, a little bit squirrely again, some cars here, but the Toyota Supra avoids more contact. So, Gagnon not having a good time after the qualifying struggles here. Do we see him trying to roll the dice on strategy? Better yet, who do we see roll the dice? We're almost at the halfway mark on minutes in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, and you know what? In a track like this where the tires are going to wear, I would advocate the halfway run. This way you know exactly how the car will behave in the second half of the race, because it's exactly how it behaved on the first half of the race. I love that halfway stop. It just kind of makes it very symmetric, very even, very predictable in that moment. Here's Mark Killen way up top still and doing a great job holding off Adam Zimke. And Zimke just cannot find a way around two very drastically different lines there in that corner. And here comes Abner, wants to send it into the bottom. Look at Abner on the bottom of that 5 car. Came in from behind Zimke. He will pass Zimke, but will line up back behind Mark Kalin.
But Zimke looks for the cross. No. Looks like maybe might get some help from Kalin, but that's it.
What I'm surprised by, JP, with how poorly the bottom of the track is performing, I'm not surprised the driver's making the pass here. This is what I'd expect here. Look at Acosta, got right up against Kalin. Still going to the bottom though. I suspect to see drivers running the middle to make the pass, but no. Abner's still going to dive to the bottom and sort of slide job it back to in front of Kalin. And now Abner all the way up to P5.
Nicely done. And Kalin says, you know what? I want to try this slide job attempt. No.
Not clear.
Zemke
wasn't able to hold the car.
Yeah, Zemke makes the pass too.
And that's
slide. So the tire was performing skills are coming into play once again for Costa. Tough thing it is for the 5. He's 4 seconds back of the leader, and they're 2 seconds behind these guys. Ted Lowendick, he's now moved his way past Thomas Sink as Sink's tires continue to disintegrate on his car.
Yeah, it looks like Sink has really sunk through the field by a couple of spots here. Down to 4th here, and Lowendick now making his way around. See Mark Kalin still trying to find a pass there in the back of that camera shot, but right now it is Daniel Knight, Lowendick trying to run down Bradley Holly. Bradley's extended that lead now to over 2 seconds at this point, JP.
Daniel Knight again up in the wall. The 17 continues to have troubles here. Again, the wall. He is becoming well acquainted with it.
Yeah, he's trying to take the Mark Kalin championship away from us here and have that. Oh, is that a 3rd time? If not, that was darn close.
Yeah, this is another example of what we talked about. Knight's been good, short to mid. Long run, he started a fade. He's looking for 2nd again, though, despite that.
Yeah, so now we've got a tight battle here. Lowendick now wants to make the pass here. Maybe just wants to stay away from Knight. Now that he knows that Knight's hitting the wall multiple times, every time Knight hits that wall, it just slows that momentum a little bit. And if you're behind him, your choices are basically to slow up with him or run him over. So why not be behind him and see if you can make the pass that way?
Yeah, some great battles around the racetrack at this point. 30 minutes to go. Pit stops have to be on the minds, because now that pit stop number, 46 laps of fuel down, under 30 minutes on the clock, halfway in 2 laps time, in fact. And already just heard the first of those are coming. It's Dustin Scruggs who's coming in. Apparently he's trying to auto fuel +1, but it's telling the entire field that instead of actually his pit crew.
Yeah, so everyone now knows Dustin Scruggs' game plan as he's broadcasting it incorrectly inside the simulator. But so Dustin Scruggs with that Marconi setup shot machine getting down pit road here. Now, of course, the reason why you want to hang out and wait for that pit stop, JP, is you don't want to get caught being someone who pitted if a yellow flag were to come out here, in the middle of the cycles. But we'll wait and see how it has. Now, what will happen to these drivers as Scruggs gets on track and as Scruggs begins to pass them, they'll get a little jealous and they'll want to go get new tires too.
The fall-off ban, by the way, as expected, 2.5 seconds per iRacing traits. So that's a massive difference. Remember the fall-off window in terms of being able to make the undercut and overcuts work within 3 laps plus minus here in Kansas. Lowendick trying to go underneath. Yet again, can't do anything there.
No, not able to do anything yet. Thomas Sink just kind of laying in wait here, almost playing possum, see if he can just maybe make a bigger move later. But now Ted's going to get down under him and can get back up and maybe slide it. Let's wait out of the corner here. If it's not clear, I'd be darn close. And nope, side by side through the corner. And it's going to be Daniel Knight again. This will help Abner. This will help everyone behind them who is trying to get up there. Adam Zimpke will benefit from this. Mark Kalin will benefit from this. The more you race side by side, you're slowing yourself up. And look how many cars they're bringing into this camera shot, little by little.
Not only that, you look at the interval differential between a constant leader. Abner's now the fastest on the racetrack. He's gained a second in the past 6 minutes on the clock. This battle now out of sort. More pit stops underway. Pit stop window is officially open for business. Jim Westerfield in. Who else comes in as we cross halfway?
Yep, now halfway through, here is Jim Westerfield. That's him on the bottom of the screen. As JP said, he is pitting. So that's the end of his pit stop here. And now the pit stops have begun. I suspect within the next probably 5 laps at most. I would think most everyone will have come down. In fact, we're hearing more calls of pitting. The 41 has just announced their intent. So that's Doug Evans now.
Oh, pit exit. Pit entry, rather. Thomas Sink has spun it into the entry. He does not hit the wall, though, as the rest of the field continues to race to the track. Thomas Sink does avoid the speeding penalty as the bright side.
And within the iRacing service, there's no incident on pit road. We'll put the yellow out, so we will say green for that. But here you go. Mark Kalin, Jeff Evans, Thomas Sink, Doug Evans. See all the little yellow markers on the side of your screen? They're all pitting. And they're going to come down and get 4 fresh tires and a gas. There you go. There's Daniel Knight. There's Ted Lowendick. There's Adam Zimpke all down the track. They'll be pitting this time. Here comes Reese Bogue, I believe, in the back of that shot.
Probably Hall, your leader, indeed, in as well. Reese Bogue makes it in. No speeding penalties so far. Nice clean window so far outside of Thomas Sink, who was wheel hopping before he even got on the apron.
Just came in really hot, really fast, and got that water vac machine turned around at 48. So that'll lose him a lot of time. He'll be begging for a yellow so he can normalize that time back with the field here.
Matt Gagnon already saying he's pinning this time. Abner Acosta entering the lane to the other side of the racetrack. James Morgan amongst those stretching with Colton Lane, JC Evans, and more. This time also in Dean Begin and Gagnon. But how does this now play out on the cycle? Remember, great cushion prior to this. Right now, Robbie Holly keeps that up at least to his strategy mates as he comes out a lap down for now.
That's Morgan at the bottom of the screen. Morgan's indicated he will be pitting this time, so you'll see him pull down here to the bottom of the track. Gets it just out of the corner there. Let's see if we can slow down the time. Great textbook entry. There you go. And he'll have a nice, hopefully smooth run down pit road, pardon me, at a very, very slow 45 miles an hour.
For those curious on why Daniel Knight just fell out of the pylon, he missed his box. Lost 2.5 seconds in the lane as a result of having to back up in his pit stall. So the 17 is now shuffled behind Zemke and Lowendick on circuit. Colton Lane on screen trying to stretch it. He's going to end the stretching now. And that leads to where Dalton Geyer wants to come in. He's the only one not to pit. Remember, though, much of the field already has gotten a lap back.
Dalton would love to make this a full circle moment tonight. Needs to pit, so only P1 for that moment, for that reason. But his teammate won our last race in the truck, Zach Panzarelli. These guys are good friends and race together and practice together. So that'd be a cool moment if it were to come full circle. But I think it looks like maybe this time or next time we'll see Geyer. There he is, this time already down on the apron. And he'll be coming down to pit road. And that should put Bradley Holly back in the lead this time by.
Fast lap for Daniel Knight as well. So he takes himself a point for the time being on the purple. Well, 24 minutes to go. It's Bradley Holly in the net lead. Dustin Scruggs didn't even get ahead of Holly in the end of the strategy on the call. He missed out on it by a second. That's how far back Scruggs was before the undercut.
Yeah, I was wondering if Scruggs would have tried something to try to see if he could make that happen, to stretch it out and get the bonus point for leading a lap to help make up that point battle on Richard Regan, but it did not work out that way.
So the 11 needs a caution by far with 23.5 minutes to go. Still a 44 lap to go race per the estimate. Kalen jumped up to net second and is now second on track. Scruggs on older tires third. Lowendick fourth. Knight fifth after a pit mistake. Zemke and Acosta on a bit fresher tires, sixth and seventh. Jeff Evans, Reese Bogue, and Doug Evans picked up a lot of time in the cycle. Here's the thing, Evans is not on a massive undercut, yet he picked up a lot of solid time on the track. Nearer to the wall is Kalen on freshies.
Yeah, Doug Evans did a great job there picking up some time and maybe even taking the benefit of a couple drivers who didn't do well. But look at this line here already. That's Mark Kalen up here racing, and he's racing Lowendick. This is for second and third. And once again, you see the two different lines. I think Lowendick may have the better line for the start of this run, but they quickly need to get back to the top of the track here. They're going to try it again down through 1 and 2. Here comes their next competitor. I thought that's Adam Kippy. He must be a lap. He's in fifth. I'm sorry, he's fifth right there behind Daniel Knight. And then they'll get him up there to those guys.
22 minutes to go of the racing from Kansas here on this Wednesday night. It's gone so far green the whole way. Your thoughts on tonight so far, Derek?
A little surprised with all the complaints about turn 2 and how hard it was to hit off the turn 2 wall. And even with all the turn 2 wall contact we've seen, I'm a little surprised that everyone has kept this car moving forward in a straight direction. I'm curious to see if that continues all night long. But listen, this Grand National Series, known for long green flag runs, known for good clean racing, known for good tight moments of racing. So on one hand, I'm not surprised. But right now, this is the Bradley Holly show, as he is performing pretty well.
Now, we talked about the questions earlier on. We haven't had the chance to talk about it yet with the exciting truck race, but your question was a rehash of a previous one, but it is a very popular one. Why don't you talk about it?
I'm not sure how long ago we've done it, or I'm not sure we've done it for the whole field, but we asked the drivers today, if you go to a restaurant and you order a steak, how would you order it cooked? And as a second question, which didn't get many responses, I asked, would you also use steak sauce on your steak? So, of course, we get them rare, medium, medium well, and well done. So let's start with the most egregious answers, JP, and we'll work our way through this quickly. For medium well, I have two responses. I have Colton Lane in the car out there, and Matt Gagnon are both medium well steak eaters. Those will have to be some conversations to have with those drivers later. I don't understand. Let's see. For medium, Mark Kalen, Abner Acosta, James Morgan, Ted Lowendick, and J.C. Evans. Medium rare, Richard Regan, Jeff Evans, Steve Loving, and then rare. Actually, no one in the Grand National Series said a rare steak, which I know is your preference.
Yes, indeed.
I'm a rare to medium rare kind of guy. But JP, would you ever put steak sauce on a steak?
I've never liked the steak sauce. I don't get the need for steak sauce.
I agree. If a steak is cooked properly, no need. The closest I come to using a sauce, which isn't really steak, but I'm going to add it in here, I use the au jus with the prime rib. But yeah, no steak sauce. I'm good, thanks. I know our producer Joshua Lee is medium rare, if I recall correctly, and I'm going to hope he doesn't use steak sauce. He can yell at my ears if he does, but I'm hoping he's not a steak sauce kind of guy. And Nick Hunter, our spotter tonight, I believe is also a medium rare steak eater.
You just said, because I am not a heathen, for those who did not hear.
The more confusing part is our producer Josh Lee just put in our ears, I like steak sauce, just not on a steak.
That's like saying you like ketchup as long as there's no French fries.
That's what I thought. I was like, then where the heck do you put the steak sauce? Yeah, I don't understand here. This is going to have to require a conversation later. But right now, Mark Kalen's under attack right now from Daniel Knight. Knight trying to recover from what happened there during that pit cycle of missing his stalls, pardon me. But, yeah.
Endurance style commentating coming into the PRL. Welcome to Kansas once again, where you can put corn onto a barbecue and then put steak sauce on the corn. How it would taste, I won't be the answer to it.
No, that's awful. I mean, you know, in fact, there's even a food reference for Kansas. Am I recalling that in real life, this is the track where the Tropican Orange took a lap?
No, that is a track in Chicago, called Chicago.
Right,
Man.
sorry, wrong mile and a half. Okay.
Yes, indeed. But the action is picking up as you were touched upon. Stepke trying to move at the bottom. Still can't get to the inside. Acosta's also catched up here looking for the top 5. Looking possibly to get high as 3rd here with the way he's carrying the speed. Better yet, with how things are looking, Scruggs is falling off and quickly by 2 to 3 tenths. So that's how some of the fall-off differences are coming in. Acosta is on fresher tires than most of the field.
Yeah, so a couple laps may make a difference here for a few laps before it all kind of falls off and everyone evens out here. See, Acosta's a little desperate to make a pass, trying to get back down to the bottom of the track here, but when you got a 3-car lane all up there on the top together, I don't think you'll make that move work.
120 minutes to go here for tonight's coverage. It's been an interesting night from Kansas. Most drivers continuing to spread apart. Bradley Holly leading by 1.7, 1.8 seconds-ish much of this run, although that is starting to go Ted Lowendick's way. It's going to get interesting with Acosta, though. It's going to get interesting mid-pack as well, because that's where a lot of 2x2 is going. Good for Thomas Sink.
As Matt Gagnon, Thomas Sink, Chris Dean, Nick McLaughlin, Dominic Benign, and others all back here in this little herd, this gaggle, if you will, right there in that pack. And that's where bad things happen. Mark Canless, speaking of bad things, up on the wall, give up a bunch of spot.
Near wall starts tonight.
Yeah, if you wanna wait and rub some paint off somewhere, next week at Darlington's the right place to do that. I don't know why you have to do it so early here in Kansas, but. Well, 15, almost 16 minutes left on the clock. A pretty clean race. Lots of wall hits, but really no car contact that comes to mind that I can think of here. And the only real thing I can say is, man, Ted Lowendick has briefly cut into that gap between himself and Bradley Holly. It's now down below 2 seconds. It wasn't always below 2 seconds.
He was down to 1.5 seconds, but it's back to 1.8 seconds. That should answer quickly what's going on there. Behind them, Jeff Evans, James Morgan. Morgan trying the inside. And your driver, Derek, has been trying to run, but has almost been running on a treadmill in terms of passes tonight.
Yeah, both up and down the field. I talked to James earlier. Just told me, definitely needs to go out and have a solid top 8 or so run. He's really concerned about being relevant in the points again. Just a little frustrated. Really talked more about the points and the track position. So he said he thought the top lane would burn up the tires. So he's just kind of looking to see what he can make happen. And right now, he sits P7. He was down the field at 1 point. So right now, that top 8 goal is just barely intact.
Up front, Acosta, a little earlier than some may have thought, is in the 3rd spot. He's now finishing up the battle with Daniel Knight up top side. Now, this is the huge test. How far can Acosta get? He closed up 1 second before the last battle pack, before the pit stop cycle. He's only got 14 minutes to close up 3.5, 4 seconds.
I think the other thing to keep in the back of your head, maybe not as relevant as last week, though, you talked about this being really, really tight on the one-stopper. For drivers who are performing super well, like a Bradley Holly, who are out there running on their own, eventually he's going to have to fuel save a little bit probably to make that happen for himself. But
well, I think it's a little bit better since we're about halfway to the fuel run now for most. But based on the original estimates, it would have been nightmarish. I think the thing is, when it comes to tonight, though, tire management's been a huge part of this entire evening, whether it's trucks or Grand Nash. Oh, that's Gagnon slapping the wall.
Yeah, Gagnon's not having a great night. Had a rough night, in fact. There's a full screen camera. See him kind of talking to himself, kind of trying to get himself calmed down here. Matt had his first real life race over the weekend, Justin. said he was really happy. This didn't finish last. Felt welcomed into the community up at the local track, and so yeah, he felt good. So he's going to keep racing with that 6-shooter.
Yeah, it's been a rough night on the circuit. At least things are going well for the rear world counterpart. And now he's trying to make sure the car stays in less than 2 pieces here this evening. Under 13 minutes to go. And now it's Acosta push time. 3.5 seconds the gap. Daniel Knight's lost nearly a second to him already.
Yeah, Daniel Knight's losing that gap here pretty quickly as Abner's doing well. Abner known to have these solid runs late in a race where he just kind of finds a speed or a line or something and goes with it and performs well. Abner also looking to make up some points tonight without Richard Regan here. So Abner's doing a much better job in this moment than Dustin Scruggs is.
So this continues to be a race which could have some ramifications for the standings with Regan Jr. not here, and Regan Jr. probably would have been also up there with Holly, if not in the lead as well, based on the trends. The interesting note to think about on this too is Acosta, he very likely is going to become second in the points no matter what here. This is Dustin Scruggs' worst nightmare of a race. He was back in 10th with Acosta in 3rd. And Acosta already in position to pounce since Acosta entered -7 to Scruggs. He's now dead even to him.
Yeah, he came in -30 overall to Richard Regan. So he'll close that gap, as you said, and hope to do well. Of course, Regan's going to score points tonight because this will be a 0, so he'll drop that. And I believe he'll put up a 32. Double checking me, yeah, 32 on the board. So if you're Abner Acosta, you need to get up there and lead a lap. You need to get up there and do everything you can to get all these bonus points right now.
Points, and more points going to become a major talking point. And this is the type of race Bradley Hawley absolutely needed for his chances, you can argue. In the back, some battles going on. JC on debut, nearly got rooted. He got a little squirrely with Thomas Sink on the bumper.
Yeah, a little squirrely indeed is what he got there. So now all the way to the bottom here, that number 9 machine, JC Evans. JC should be proud of the run he's having tonight. Maybe it's not the top of the field, but he's been relevant all night. He's been involved in the battles. He's been running it clean. He's been running it hard. And sometimes that's all you can ask for. That's the best you can ask for. And that'll help you gain the respect of your competitors at a pretty quick pace.
10 minutes to go on the clock this time by. This race continuing to zip by. Talking back to Dustin Scruggs, those older tires, they aren't looking too comfortable right now. In fact, he's already under pressure again by Doug Evans. Doug Evans is faster with damage.
Yeah, that's not what you want to hear if someone's faster than you with damage. Oh, here comes Scruggs again.
Oh, he's pitting.
Pit road.
Oh, he's wrecking in a pit road.
That's going to be a penalty.
Dustin Scruggs knocks to the cone. No black flag from the sim yet. But a disastrous night for Dustin Scruggs.
I'm super confused, JP. I mean, I know we talked about how he was kind of advertising his Auto Fuel +1 to all the other drivers instead of to his own controls by accident, but I mean, we're 9 minutes left.
He just parked it. Dustin Scruggs has parked it and will finish 20th. He's going to lose ground to someone not even here tonight.
Sorry, I'm following up on this. If you can give me a second, let's see if I can find out what happened to Dustin.
So now, just like that, things are looking great for the Richard Regan Jr. title fight. With a big buffer, Acosta's in a great position now to at least pick up second spot in the standings. Adam Zemke, though, for the first time really all year, has not had everything go wrong. Now, what did Dustin just do? Said, you know what? I've had it. And then he proceeds to crash it.
Well, what I can tell you for now is that the quote I got is not fully show appropriate. Just to say, it says, bleep that car, bleep that track. It says they're driving a snowplow and nothing's helping. So he just got frustrated and parked it. There's no technical issue. There's no hardware issue. Just driver frustration, right? And he's going to lose points on Richard Regan, oddly enough, in that moment, and lose points on Abner Acosta. Wow.
I think Richard's about to go up from the desk and say, okay, let's talk about this. 99% chance of Richard Regan's jumping in and building on the race car. He's going to listen back and hear that. So, 7.5 minutes to go. And cars that are not snowplows, in terms of aesthetics at least. What we're saying about Adam Semke, oh yeah, it's been a better run. You know who's also running? Acosta within 2 seconds if he gets by Ted.
Yeah, I mean, that's Acosta now has to know that he's already in the catbird seat to make up points here tonight and to put himself in a spot, doing well. And, he has to have 2 weeks from now circled on the calendar when we go to Road America, and thinking that is a space where he can make up more points. I mean, Richard's a very, very good road course driver, but Abner's someone I think we always kind of look at as that odds-on favorite to do well here. I mean, even Bradley Holly came in tonight 32 points back, by the way. Someone I've already talked about with the points battle. I know you brought him up a couple times, but Bradley's going to make up all kinds of points tonight on both Scruggs and Regan.
Yeah, this could change things up a little bit. Well, a lot of bit, in fact. Is there going to be enough time for Acosta to get to Holly before the tires equalize is the question.
Yeah, probably not. I don't think. I mean, the tires, I think, at this point are pretty much what they are. With 6 minutes left here, and really there's no very little chance we're going to get new tires, because we're like 1 minute away from being, as you call it, the point of no return, because it means if a yellow comes out, I don't think we'll get green flag racing again. So what you have is what you have as a race car driver. But look at Abner running the top of that track and gaining a little bit of time on Lowendick here through that corner.
This could be the one cork in the bottle for Acosta's chances to try and close to Holly. 5.5 minutes to go in this one. Point of return in less than 90 seconds now. It looks like Holly might just have enough distance if it stays green. It's been that type of a night, though, for Bradley. He has been that quick from the jump.
Yeah, that quick from the jump all night long and really doing well. You see, that's the gap between first and second. And their second, third, and then third back to fourth. That's Daniel Knight back there. That's a bigger gap than what you see ahead of them here. You see now Abner trying to make that pass on the bottom again and has to slide it back up here. I feel like he's better off maybe just trying to make the pass on the outside. There you go. That's the move I would take. Get to the outside, try to dominate that line. But Lowendick gets in front of him.
Still, the different lines on the defense, trying to play with the arrow. Acosta nearly knocks the wall down trying to get the run. I almost feel like the tires have equalized right this minute.
Yep. Yeah, nothing's going to change now. Now it's just a matter of driver preference, how you can handle
Double back straightaway. Reese Bogue just knocked the wall down. And we have another one spinning on the back straightaway into turn 3. Colton Lane, hard of the wall into turn 3. He avoids cars. We stay green.
Yeah, that was a massive hit from what we saw at the end of that shot there, but kept it moving forward. He may have some damage to go fix or need to pit, but not enough for a yellow. So Bradley Holly is not done yet. He may got excited for a second, JP. Did Bradley Holly thinking this was over, but no yellow from Barney the Flagman. Well, here we go. Abner still trying to make this move. This is the closest battle on track. Watch the replay on the bottom, though.
Oh, and that destroys Evan's rear end. That explains why that was such an angle.
Yeah, it does.
But Doug Evans got the worst of it. He's the slowest car on track by far with damage, but second is still ongoing. They've gained time on Holly as this has gone on, But with 3 minutes to go, there's not enough time. With how it looks, Acosta's door slammed shut yet again.
Yeah, Lovedick's doing a great job here, and really just trying to fend off Abner Acosta. And listen, when you're Ted Lowedick, this is probably your third season in Grand Nationals. You've had some great runs, but to be able to mark off on your resume, on your cover sheet, whatever, that you've been able to race with and hold off Abner Acosta lap after lap after lap, that's something to be proud of.
Side by side yet again. Under 3 minutes to go from Kansas. Under 5 estimated laps to go. Next flag ends the race. Ted continues to play solid defensively. Acosta sends it. Acosta to the wall. Acosta keeps it off the fence fully, but Ted gets the spot back with a bump.
Yeah, that fence slap will slow up Acosta and let Ted get under him and back around him. I think that's the last shot Acosta probably has here, I would think, as he almost hits it again there into the wall he almost hits. And man, he's right back on top of him though. Acosta must have found something, because he's right back on Lowedick pretty quickly for someone who slapped the wall there.
Also in our battle heating up, Morgan and Kalen for 6th. They're starting to trade blows back and forth. No change back yet amongst the battle for 2nd. Now it's the question, what happens with Acosta with the nerve set? Ted is tight. Acosta able to get even at least. 90 seconds to go this time.
Yeah, you're right. You can tell by just how he had to slow up a little bit that Lowedick got that car tight, meaning he wasn't going to respond. It wasn't going to turn, so he had to get out of the gas and keep it going. But here they are now. Abner Acosta is going to pull ahead out of this corner. Not clear. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, a bit of a paint slap that time for Ted. Oh, he tries to go high side. All the way to the wall. He's in the wall. Ted Lowedick hits the wall.
That wall grabbed a hold of him and slowed him down. So that may end Lowedick's chances of catching Abner Acosta here with only about a minute to go. Let's go back to Kalen and Morgan for a second if we can, and see how that battle is going. There it is. Morgan's got a little bit of a gap here. Not much, about 0.3 of a second on Kalen, and it might be secure.
That battle fizzles. Same for the battle for 2nd. You know what hasn't fizzled? The speed of one Bradley Hawley here tonight. He puts on a clinic. 85 laps led out of 100 this time. Now moving to 86. Should be the last time by in the next moment, if not next. Regardless, for Hawley, outright dominating pace tonight. He took the lead out of turn 4 and has really not even looked back even once since. Checker flag expected here. Clock reaches all zeros. Bradley Hawley comes around turn 4. He's your winner at Kansas.
There you go. Look at that small crack of a smile. Bradley Hawley knows he has won this race. He is a winner again. This another notch in that belt of most wins in PRL.
Rest of the drivers finishing things out. Christine able to pick off Reese Bogue for 9th. And that should just about close things out here in the end. 19 of 21 starters will finish this race here tonight from Kansas. But it's Bradley Hawley who ends up taking advantage of the long run speed to win, as Knight gives him a little love tap. For Bradley Hawley, it's his first win this season. Nicely done for Bradley. What do you say, Derek?
Beautiful, beautiful race. Sorry, just kind of watching him do the donuts and watching him just really have a good time there. Just another win for Bradley Hawley. It's the thing we've said time and time again here. I'm just trying to think here of all of them. There were all the names of Star Wars movies, but I got nothing. It's not even a new hope, because really it's just a repeat hope for Bradley Hawley. Oh my goodness.
And the welcome party comes in to congratulate Bradley as he picks up the win over Acosta by a second and a half. Ted Lowendick, Knight, Zemke, Morgan, Kalen, Evans, Dean, and Bogue all wrapped up in the top 10, 16 seconds the difference. Colton Lane finishes 12th, Dominic again in 12th. JC Evans on debut goes 13th. Geyer, Sink McLaughlin, along with Gagnon and Doug Evans, surely lap finishers. Westerfield lap down, Dustin Scruggs finishes in 20th position. Rounding out the finishers here tonight, Danny Cervantes, he did not start, unfortunately, tonight in the RBM machine. So currently waiting for the drivers to go to victory lane here. Derek, your thoughts on this one?
Very clean, very long race as far as the green flag run is concerned. Lots of wall slapping, but everyone handled it pretty well. I'm really impressed by how this race went. With that
to talk about, Derek Watson standing by with the race winner, Bradley Holly.
Well, I feel like it's appropriate to say, Bradley Holly, win the race you will. Great job.
Thank you very much.
What a great win. Dominant win in that Star Wars inspired theme. Of course, all the new Star Wars stuff behind you, the TIE Interceptor. I'm jealous of that beautiful Lego set behind you. Is that going to be put together before next week?
Oh, definitely not. I'm going to be, I've got a lot of distractions over the next couple of weeks. I got, all the Legos to build and started playing Gray Zone Warfare. So that's going to be going back and forth between building and playing.
So I feel like I have to ask this question. If you could think of the names of the Star Wars movies in your head, which title of a movie describes your race tonight?
Probably the original saga.
There you go. All right. Well, listen, great job tonight. Next week we're at Darlington. So the opinion's been pretty split tonight. Do you love or hate Darlington?
Darlington's fun, and I say that because it is a tough track to race at. You guys stay off the walls. So I mean, even if I struggle one day at Darlington, I actually enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to next weekend. Plus, it's Throwback Week.
It is Throwback Week. Well, listen, I got to tell you something. The question of the week was about steaks and how people have them cooked. Austin Hunter put a little slander on you, by the way. Austin Hunter told us, quote, Bradley Holly covers his steak in ketchup.
He would say that, and that's an absolute freaking lie. Nope, that is. Right. I have several different ways to cook a steak, and ketchup is definitely not on the list.
All right, so I'm going to ask this last question. We'll let you go. Which is more disappointing, that Austin Hunter said you put ketchup on a steak, or that Matt Gagnon says he eats medium well steaks?
Matt Gagnon eating medium well steak. We need to get him to learn how to eat a steak properly.
Yeah, I'm calling a post broadcast intervention, by the way, for Matt Gagnon. So we'll have that talk later. For Bradley Holly, great job tonight. I suspect the rest of the field thought you were the Phantom Menace tonight, but great job.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Bradley Holly, winner yet again in the PRL, Justin.
And already to the photos to be able to help celebrate. Bradley Holly picks up the W. Second spot going to Abner Acosta. Abner, long run pace, once again showing things at the very end here. How would you describe the race from your viewpoint, though?
It was really fun. The car would get really tight off. But yeah, it was really fun. Just I wish I could have gotten by Ted sooner. When I came out the second stint, I figured Brad was ahead by 5 seconds. I had no chance, but the fact that I was catching, I was super surprised. But yeah, it was a fun race. A lot of tire wear. Very fun.
So you made the strategy of going with the overcut. What was kind of going to the mind as you were making up passes, one of the quickest cars to the track, but also the making up passes part kind of takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, man, it just takes too much. I didn't plan on staying out. I wanted to pit in the same lap as Brad, but I didn't see him pit. I wasn't paying attention, so I just pitted right after, and then I got some guys past me again, which honestly it wasn't that bad, but Man, and here, even though you have different grooves, it's just that outside lane is so strong. And if the guy, if you don't do the whole little switcheroo and do it safely, or the guy kind of gives you some slack, it's just super hard to pass.
Your thoughts on Darlington up next?
It's another track with a lot of tire wear, and I love Darlington. Hopefully I actually get to qualify good, because tonight, qualifying 16 or whatever I qualified, that really lost me the race. But I'm definitely going to work on qualifying for next week.
Once you get to that preparation, Abner, any shout-outs you like to give real quick, though?
I want to thank PRL, you guys at RaceSpot, and everybody that's in the league and watching. Thank you.
Once again, that's Abner Acosta coming away in P2 tonight. Ted Lowendick finishes in third. A strong run for the normally road course days. He is with Derek.
Well, another proud member of Team Medium when it comes to how his steaks are cooked. Ted, a great run tonight. You were really up and down the field and had a lot of close battles tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think I gave up too much time in the first stint. Just really hard to pass. As I hope you guys were able to see with Abner and I there at the end. Yeah, it was a fun time. Good to see a water-back person get the win. And yeah.
Knowing now what you do, if you could have known it an hour ago when the race started, would it have changed your pit strategy knowing we were going to go green the whole way, or were you just committed to the decision you made?
I was going to do that no matter what. I did the 7 p.m. official race and ran the top the entire time and went green for 55 laps. And at the end of it, my right front was completely destroyed. And then in practice, I did a 50-lap run just running the bottom, and it was like 20% better tire wear. So I was like, yeah, we're just going to run the bottom. We're going to lose time at the start, but maybe we'll make it back up at the end. And it was working out there pretty well. I got the battle with Mark Kalin a little bit there for a bit. I think it was like 10 laps, and I think I lost some time there. And then, yeah, it just lost too much time in the first stint, but I would still do that, stick with that strategy. I think that was the best way to go.
And then, yeah, it was a great run all night long. I had another question I sort of forgot in my head, so we're going to let that go. So I got to ask you at the end here, you didn't answer it in the Discord, so I'm going to put you on the spot live. I know you said medium for your steak. Steak sauce or no steak sauce?
A well-cooked steak does not need steak sauce.
Thank you very much. That is the way to do the interview. That's Ted Lowendick, driver 72. We'll see you next week at Darlington.
Thanks, guys. Can't wait.
Once again, that's Ted Lowendick rounding out your top 3 finishers here tonight in the PRL Grand National Series. An interesting night overall, Derek, with the trucks and Grand National, but it's the place too tough to tame. Coming up next, your thoughts on Darlington next week?
I'm excited. I think it's time to carry on my wayward son. Let's get out of here and be ready for next week.
9:30 p.m. for the Grand National cars at Darlington. We'll see who tames that track next week. On that note, it's time to say goodbye from iRacing's virtual Kansas Speedway here on RaceSpot. For our producer this evening, Joshua Lee, for our spotter, Nick Hunter, and for my co-announcer tonight, and Derek Watson, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. You've been watching the PRL Trucks and Grand National cars go zoom zoom from Kansas City.